Hey, everybody. This is Brian Dodd of Brian Dodd Own Leadership, and I also work for Enjoy Stewardship Solutions. And I want to welcome you to this weekend's volunteer celebration event. And I am just so honored to get a chance to share with you. I was speaking with Pastor Brian and Pastor Kathy earlier today, and they were just telling me everything they had planned for you. And I think you're just in for a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. And I just wanted to thank you for being a volunteer. Now, I'm a volunteer at my local church. I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But being a volunteer, I think, is a big deal. And here's why. Each of you in this room and each of you listening to this video, you have made the cognitive decision by the leading of the Holy Spirit that you're going to use your sacrificial time and energy to serving His bride, the local church. And you could have used your sacrificial time and energy to do any number of things. And many of them are very, very good. But you love your church so much that you said, no, time is limited, got a lot going on. It's a busy world, but I'm gonna serve my local church, and I'm gonna serve the Lord through this means. And you should be honored and you should be rewarded for that. When I think of being a volunteer, I always want to talk to volunteers about the real importance of what you're doing. One of the things that your church is about is you want to help people take one step closer to having a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what you're about, taking that one step closer. And what you may or may not realize as a volunteer is you're the ones who help facilitate that every week. Let me give you an example. Now, I'm not on my church staff. I work with Enjoy Stewardship for a living and do that all day, but I'm like you. I volunteer on the weekends and I head up our parking team. And our church's mission statement is this: we exist to show God's love in such a way that people will exchange ordinary living for an extraordinary life through the transforming power of Jesus Christ. So, our job as a parking team and your job as volunteers is to be used within your sphere of influence and within the task or assignment that God has called you to do to help facilitate your church's mission and vision and help your church's mission vision become reality. So here's how that works for our parking team. We exist to show God's love by facilitating the first few minutes of a person's weekend experience and do it in such a way that by the end of the service, many of them will exchange ordinary living for an extraordinary life through the transforming power of Jesus Christ. Our job as a parking team is not to be nice to people. Hopefully, we're accomplishing that just because we're Christians. Number two, our job is not to park cars. That's kind of a technical aspect of what we do. But what we're there to do is love on those people from their car to the sanctuary door and break down any barriers that may be preventing them from hearing a life-changing message and helping remove any obstacles that Satan may be putting in their path that would prohibit them from hearing that message. By the way, wherever you serve, you do the same thing. If you're in children's ministry or you're working the nursery, what you're doing is you're taking care of them children and loving them so much that their parents are in the sanctuary not having to worry about what's going on in the nursery because their child's being loved for so much. And then what can happen is now they can hear a life-changing message. If you're working in children or youth or you're working, in security, or you're working, janitorial services, you're doing cleanup or something of that nature. Wherever you're serving on a Sunday morning, I just want you to know God is using that task or an assignment as a way to help facilitate and bring the redemptive message of the love of His Son into each person who's visiting your church. So I just want to say congratulations on probably a great year of being a volunteer. I'm praying for you as the next year comes up. What you're doing really, really matters. Don't ever use the phrase, I'm just a volunteer, or I'm just a greeter, or I just play the drums, or whatever it may be. No, You are being used by the giftedness that God has given you, and He's provided you a task and assignment that brings Him glory and advances the mission vision of the church and helps bring people one step closer to a relationship with Jesus Christ, either for the very first time or deepening that relationship they already have. So, once again, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I'm one of you. I celebrate with you. I'm cheering you on. And who knows, we're having conversations. Maybe one day we'll get to meet in person and I'll get to hear your story and shake your hand and just be thrilled and rejoice over how God's using you. So it's been my pleasure to talk to you. If I can ever serve you in any way, just let me know. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you for being a volunteer. God bless.